Hi. So, my singing journey was very much, as all of my musical journey is, really a tale of two sides. There's the classical side, and then there's a jazzy soul pop side. I can remember as a kid, my dad would put on opera records because he was a real classical music buff, and I would listen to these singers singing these glorious high notes and beautiful sounds. But then I would hear Aretha Franklin or Stevie Wonder or some of my soul singer idols, and I think I'd rather sing like that, really, if given the choice. But I was kind of quite attracted to both. I've always loved classical music, loved playing Chopin on the piano, so it was probably quite natural for me that when I went to music college at the age of 18, I got myself a singing teacher, a very good singing teacher, who taught me, obviously, because it was a classical conservatoire education that I was pursuing, taught me to sing in a classical operatic way. So that's where I started, and I started singing in, I suppose, in a way that I would describe as being an English tenor, kind of a light English tenor sound. So I can sort of demonstrate. It's like this. It's like kind of quite pretty sort of sound. I wasn't crazy about it. So then I tried much later on. I tried after I'd left college. I tried a different teacher who had me singing in a much thicker, heavier, more baritone sound with a wider vibrato, and it was more like this. So very different. I tried various other teachers. I also tried teachers to bring out the potential in my voice to sing soul and pop. And that was a more tricky journey for me because I started with the classical. I had this problem with the top of my voice. When I went into the top register, it would kind of lapse into more of a classical sound. So I'd be fine. I'd be going up the scale. Ba, 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 ba. And it would always be like flipping into this different sound. So I tried all sorts of things. In the end, I realised that something was going on with my singing that wasn't really quite right. And if I was in any doubt about that fact that something wasn't quite right, working with a teacher at the time, very hard to produce my soulful pop voice, I actually lost my voice. I stopped being able to sing. For like 9 months, I couldn't sing at all. So something, I didn't believe it was a physical problem. I believed it was related to the way I was singing. And so that was a real wake-up call. And that happened nearly a decade ago now, and things have been a lot better for me singing-wise since then. So when I lost my voice, I really started looking for a different approach, and one that was more in line with the way that I played the piano, based on sort of expressive fluency, being able to improvise and spontaneously sing, sit at the piano and just sing and play. This is what I wanted, particularly focused on the soulful side more than the classical. And so it was all about finding a way of singing that felt natural. What I realised was that all those different vocal impressions and sounds that I could do before this event of losing my voice were the result of some degree of tension, some degree of manufacturing the voice with tension. So, having a sound out there in your mind that you want to produce, and producing it by tensing up the muscles and doing things. And so I wasn't really singing with my true voice. And I think this is a very important thing. There are still many ways of producing your voice. It's not like you have one voice. I mean, there's this myth in our culture where people say, oh, he's got a good voice, she's got a beautiful voice, like it's something you were just born with. You learn to sing. It's something that we can develop. I think in a way, all voices are beautiful when they are produced without tension, when they are produced from a place inside us, inside our body and soul, that is authentic. So to do this, obviously, there's a lot of letting go involved. You have to find that freedom and that courage, that boldness to sing with a true voice. But also a slightly more technical aspect is you've got to find the physical relaxation and freedom. And also, what I did was I invented a model of the instrument and really started applying a model of musicianship that I already use on the piano to my singing. And that resulted in my singing become much freer. So the basis of it is that there's a sort of soft core of tone that we produce when the vocal cords just gently rub together, which I call a neutral tone. So very soft, very warm, a bit sort of churchy in a way. But then you can do this modification of that sound. You can shape it with you isolate the muscles. There's not a lot of tension, but you can add some sort of dynamic closing. And the way to sort of demonstrate, if I whisper this closing and actually opening even wider at the back, but closing the front of the voice, I can demonstrate it with a whisper and go. So that makes something, that particular tone I'm making in that whisper makes something a lot more soulful. Yeah. So that tone is not, I mean, obviously it's consistent throughout the range. I'm going high there. It's not changing. It's not flipping into that operatic sound because I'm not having to use these extra muscles to manufacture a tone. It's my natural voice, but shaped into a soulful way. If I wanted to shape it into another style, I could do that, but I think it's good to stick to one style. I mean, I've still got a sense of what the classical shape would be. For me, something more like, oh, if you can hear that. So it's a different colour, a different way of shaping that basic, soft, neutral tone. So basically, I replaced thinking technically, like engineering my singing with a lot of sort of physical, like engineering, as I say, like technical engineering the voice from the muscles. Gave that up. I also gave up the karaoke singing that I was doing, if you see what I mean. I was just sort of singing things the way that I heard them. Whereas on the piano, I use a very clear model of how music works. You know, I've cracked the code of music, as I like to say, with the keys. So I thought, well, why not on the voice? If I can find that freedom of the instrument itself and find a model for that, maybe there's a model like the keyboard map, a tonal map of the voice. And sure enough, there is. It's a beautiful feeling of moving through the different phases of the voice as you go through this harmonic structure or tonal structure in the voice, and obviously rhythm as well. Like I made myself think a lot more clearly about rhythm, and all of this resulted in me finding this vocal truth, finding something that I could really use in a way that was flexible. I could improvise, sing my soulful songs. It's taken a long time to build the confidence to really see myself as a singer, you know, in the way that I see myself as a pianist. But, you know, I feel like I'm there now, and that feels really good. And of course, rather wonderfully, it's informed my teaching, my singing teaching. So for years, I coached singers as a pianist because I love singing and always been interested in it. So I'd coach singers, but not really get too much involved in sort of like the more technical aspects of singing. Whereas now, as a singer, I teach people singing, and that's wonderful. And this is what I teach. I teach people to free their natural voice, find their sort of authentic self, if you like, through their singing, through this natural singing tone, and to really develop all-round vocal musicianship in whatever style the person wants to do, be that like classical, soul, metal, rock, doesn't matter. I'm really happy to help people find their own authentic way of singing that is true to them, unique to them. And I think it's a really fascinating and powerful journey. I feel really privileged to be working with people along that amazing journey to vocal freedom.